What's happening, everybody? Greg here, Whistling Wind Ranch, your home BC grass-fed lamb. Today's episode, I think we're going to be getting into a bit more farm mechanicking stuff, farm mechanic. What we're doing is a bit of repairs. Well, I think all the videos coming up are going to be a bit of repairs because we're coming right out of winter here and we're getting ready to go into spring. We're in spring? I don't know. It's April 1st, 2nd.
Who that? Who there?
So we got to get all this crap all fixed up for doing fencing and work around the farm. So there's a ton of repair videos. But what we're working on today is our Worksaver model. I think it's a 16. This we bought secondhand, so I'm not 100% sure. But there's a 16 and the 20 are the small size. And the 20 has a quick return spring. And I think it comes with optional leg stabilizers. It also has a larger this and a larger hydraulic control. So I believe this is a 16. It's worked like a hot damn. Going into a bunch of repairs here. We need to get this thing serviced up and ready to go. This thing is put in probably a couple hundred fence posts. There may be another post pounder coming this spring here. Possibly in another 2 weeks we'll have another one coming here. The one I first used to build the farm. I'm thinking we'll be bringing it down here to help have two machines running, putting in posts. We have that many to do. But we're still going to get this thing fixed up and serviced here because I don't want to be having this thing break in the middle of work and then have to be down a piece of equipment. And right now, I'd like to get out and do posts, but I think we got a bit of rain coming here. So it's a great day to shove this thing in the shop, strip it down, and get some repairs done. So I got this mess of stuff here, and that's because, and I got this cap thrown on here. This valve leaks like a dirty bastard. It's got a bad seal. It's got what's called a Q-ring in it, which is almost like 4 O-rings put together. And for some reason, the controls are overextending when you do the downstroke, I believe. And it's catching the lip for the control port that goes to this and then for your return. So I have to strip this apart, clean this up, strip it apart, put another Q-ring in there, and then possibly find a way to limit the travel. And I do believe I can do that right here. I don't know if that's loose and backed out, so could just beware. So we got to do an inspection and find out why that's doing that. We've got to go over our hydraulic stuff here because you can see this is starting to crack. I think these are good enough to run. Hydraulic hoses are easy enough to replace on the machine. We're not going to worry about replacing these if they don't break while we're taking them apart. We need to do a seal under the cap here, most definitely. I need to get into these the rollers here, and I think I got to clean all that up in there. We're just going to give it a good cleaning here in a minute. I need to, as you can see, there's a bunch of wear right here. That's because there's supposed to be either a bearing or a washer in here, and it's long gone. So we might have to pull this whole thing out, put a reinforcing plate on here because this is so wore out. Like, look, you can see it's got a bevel to it because it's so wore out. So we're going to have to strengthen this or cut this off and put a new one on. I should have a bunch of steel for doing that. I'm hoping just to reinforce this. There should be a lock nut here to prevent this from going back and forth, and then you can see the sliding washer there. So we're gonna have to figure out what's going on here and repair that. And then the biggest issue is we've got a mega crack right there. If you can see that, she is that's just from the amount of force hammering on that. So we've got to cut that all out and get a new weld in there, and then just check everything over for welds, for any cracks on the welds, clean it all up. I got to put some new bolts in the bottom there. As you can see, there's supposed to be this little post holder thing that I don't know if it like swings around and holds the post. I'm not going to worry about it. I would like to add a bit of weights up into this spot here or chain or something. I'm also not going to worry about that. This job right here is just to clean this all up here. I'm going to take this out. I'm going to pressure wash this sucker out right there. And then we're going to go ahead and start disassembly on pretty much everything. It has the model right there, 161205. Okay, there we go. It is a Model 16 Worksaver. Okay, cool. Cool. I wasn't sure. HDP 16, I think is what they call them. This was just to stop it from leaking everywhere, so I might as well start getting this off of here. Come on. Ew, it's so oily. Like I said, it was leaking really, really bad. Really bad. For a really big shoe. But yeah, you can see all the new cotter pins. I've been into this before to do this control lever here. Oh, I can hear it just blowing air. So this definitely, I want to get this off and get this on my bench and do a big work service on that. I am not sure. I almost want to bet that this dropped right out, and that's why, but this is not loose. Somewhere, somehow, this thing is overextending. So we'll figure that out. But we need new Q-rings in there. I think they're like $2 at Norcan Fluid Power. They're solid dudes. Yeah, as you can see, I put my pins to the inside on this just to make it easier to hook up to the tractor. I like having my 3-point go out on this. Some of the other tools I have it that the pins are pointing out. It doesn't make a difference, whatever makes it easier to hook up. This is usually hanging from a tree, so that's why they're in, because it's a lot of the times crooked, and I just find it easier to line up when the arms are actually on the inside. I can lift it up and down. It makes hookup way faster for this. Without further ado, god dang, those are sure saturated. The rain will wash those off. The oil on that barrel will keep it from rusting. That's what my excuse is. So good enough spot to give her a wash. Yeah, you saw I forgot to chain that there. I knew I had 2 chains down for a reason, but whatever. Okay, set up the pressure washer. Hit this with some spray 9 degreaser type stuff. That's kind of my go-to. And then give this thing a good soaking down. And then start stripping her down piece by piece. So, looks like those are, stop swaying. Those nuts in there are all carriage bolts, so they got a square head on the other side. So I'm hoping to separate this whole control and mounting fixture and that hose and pop those off, and then I'll take this big son of a here and I will set that into the shop to strip out the hydraulic cylinders and roll this hammer head off of the rails. And I think that's how we'll break it into pieces. We'll see when we get to it. First thing's pressure wash. So spray 9 works better if you just leave it for a minute or two to sort of bite into that greasy schmoo and loosen it off. The second I hit it up with a little bit of pressure I had there, she started to run off like a very disgusting soup. I'm gonna call that German good enough. I still got about the grease, the schmooey grease. It's everywhere. I'll just wipe it off and brake clean it. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff I'm gonna be manhandling. A lot of the crap I'm gonna be just, I don't know, ankle deep, knee deep, whatever.
But what are we going to be standing in?
Imagine the worst. That's what you'll be standing in.
Into on this thing is relatively clean, so we'll start breaking it all apart and getting ready to get into the, I don't know, the meat and potatoes, the post pounder. So anyways, I gotta finish putting away that thing there. Okay, step numero dos is bring that up onto this pad again, and we'll take the hammer and hydraulics off of the mounting bracket. So let's get that moving, otherwise we ain't moving. All right, next step. We gotta get the oil out of these controls and as much out of that cylinder as we can. So we should be able to pop this end off and, oh right, I want to go this way. Come on, I was just trying to get it all set up here. Oh, there we go. Pop the ends off, get it into a kit pan. I'm hoping this will be the idea. There's a little bit draining out. Let's see what we can't do here. There might not be much left in here. Geez, she's making a lot of noise. Okay, we'll get this one too, because the more the merrier. What the hell is with the end of this one? I don't know. Looks like somebody modified this one. Of course they did. But of course they did. Oh, come on. Bugger. There we go. It's got a swivel on it for some reason. Okay. Let's see if we can't just chunk that over there. Oh, that's got a lot more in it. Let that keep draining into there. Just stay. Ooh, right, top that up there. So let those drain out. I don't know if there's much left in this thing because you see the amount that leaked onto the ground there. Geez, I really didn't do a good job cleaning it. Well, there's so many little angles on it. Okay. She's still going. Gee bars. Quit falling in the moog. That cap is leaking so bad right now that there's, even though I washed it, that thing is now covered in oil. Jeez. So there's oil leaking out of here. So bad. It's running down all for this that I've already cleaned every time I go to use the handle. And that's what happens when the pressure of the tractor, that little thing sprays everywhere. Once you start applying oil pressure from the tractor, so. But I need to get this disconnected before I take all this away. Away. It's gonna get greasy. Okay, so I don't know where where I left off because I ran out of memory on the phone. So it's all cleared out now. Whoa, the wind's picking up. Holy schmooly. I broke this into 3 pieces. That's leaking a ton of hydraulic oil. We're gonna have to clean that up. I got kitty litter up there somewhere. I think it's time to start bringing these 3 sections into the workshop. I've cleaned up this area. I'm gonna put down some cardboard so she don't leak onto everything. We're gonna lay this flat down with this facing up. And this is what I was talking about, the greasy schmoo on there. I'm gonna have to deal with that later. But we need to disassemble this whole crud here. It doesn't look like this piece comes out of this. It looks like that. Does it really? Yeah, you can't. Oh, you can. No. No, there's no way to actually take that tube out of there. So once I disassemble like this, and then take that bottom, that's the extent that can come apart off of this 3-point here. So we'll do that because that's going to be easier to move around to weld. All right, there's all our crap sort of set in the shop. As you can see, the wind's blowing around here. Tractor's shoved up out of the way. We put some Absorball on here just because it's what we do. Got to be careful that this black piece here don't slide too much different from the red piece, because the hydraulic oil, as the cylinder moves, could possibly work its way out. Because you got to keep in mind, we are moving the hydraulic cylinder. So, geez, what the heck did they do right there? Anyways, my next biggest thing to do for possibly tomorrow, running into town and getting some of these seals and such, is to strip this cylinder out, dump the oil that's left into this sucker here, and possibly popping this slide out so that we can clean up the rails and the rollers in here and free them up. But then we'll be able to take this cap off and get the seals for this hydraulic cylinder so she don't leak so bad no more. The weld is not a big deal. I can fix that here. We have options. Yeah. So I do want to clean this grease off a little bit better, probably with some brake clean and just scraping it. But I'm going to go ahead and start parping this whole crap out here. Then I'll be able to get those carriage bolts out and put them into my storage bin there. Anywho, let's get this thing stripped down. Have to apply some heat. I gotta go get a torch because I think heating this big bastard up here so we can break that loose and then push that closed. Or should I strip this thing down? Maybe. I said maybe. Gonna be the one to shave me. We'll pop this sucker off of here. That seems like the smartest decision. We need this all cleaned off to get to that weld. So we're going to do that right now. And I'm going to go fix my light right here. Oh, the garage door goes too far. So it does this. There we go. Even more light. Ta-da! It's amazing what you can do with these little torches here. You don't need, well, I got the big torch, but with small bottles back there. I don't ever use them. rollers here are what rolls in that track, so make sure they all work. I thought, you know, and then we got that one doesn't, but these just pop off. Watch out for this spacer washer right there, and then we'll check all this out because there's a grease tube right there that goes into these bearings. So we're going to check all these bearings out in a minute. I'm just going to stick that back on there. So I'm going to take these all apart here. Oh God, that one's wrecked. No? Okay, that's weird. Okay. Sorry, I thought there was supposed to be an end in them. I guess not. I guess the grease just comes straight out there. Or does it come through a hole here? I don't know. We'll have to check it out. I think the grease comes straight out here and then into the track, and then these are just lubricated via. And there's 2 washers on this one. And then we got to check for wear in here. Oh, Jesus. Okay, this is going to take some time to clean up. Yeah. And there's 2 washers in this one. Oh, there's 1 washer in this one and 1 washer left on it. Okay. All right, so I think we got to make sure we keep in mind where those shims go. That thing's locked up. We'll deal with that. I got to put the camera down here. I got to break this thing apart here, and then I got to take this cylinder apart here. We're going to be, I'm going to cut this gusset out here. We're going to hammer this level, and then we're going to put, I'm hoping to put a gusset on either side. I'm thinking that's the better way to go, as long as it doesn't impact into the top of this cylinder here. So that's all going to be something we're going to have to keep in mind. I might have to shim that out to the edges of this to clear that cylinder. I think just having a double on either side will prevent this from happening. Let's upgrade while we're here and take a look at where the weak spots are. So, like I said, we're going to put a square tube right on here. And then on here with a hole through it that we can pin it with a leg that goes up and down. These are the holes here for storing this thing on the ground. You get this black bar up to this point here, and then you put a pin through, and then it won't drop down, and this becomes a 3rd leg off the ground. So we're going to set this whole thing up to stand on its own, basically make it into the model up from this. Reinforce that. Well, I got to get to work on this here too, so I'm going to break this thing apart. As you can see, there's only 2 fasteners on the back, 2 fasteners there, and this whole thing should come apart. So. still had a lot of oil in it. This is our control. I'm going to pull that apart later. This is pretty simple, just these pins, and then the whole spool slides out. Here's all the brackets for everything, so those can be cleaned up a little bit better and repainted. So we're gonna give her all a shot of paint. The only thing left to really disassemble is our hydraulic cylinder. I have to find my small pipe wrenches, and I have to stop stepping in the oil mess. So I'm gonna try and find out where my small pipe wrenches are. I should have 2 of them somewhere. And I did clean this shop, but you can see this stuff is starting to work its way back out, so I'll figure it out. Looks like there's no seals at the bottom of that. As you can see, the only seals I will end up having is going to be in this cap here. I find that extremely weird. There's no O-ring in the actual cap itself. There is just a single O-ring right in the ear. That's weird. That is odd. Why would they do that? They have to be missing an O-ring somewhere. Looks like there was something at the top that's been damaged, or is that just Loctite? Se no bueno! Okay, let's set PCs back on for now. So, that's the only bit that was at the bottom. Just trying to take a look inside for any burrs or anything on there. Looks like we got a bit of a wear on that side in there, but I don't see any burrs in there. Don't think you can see very good. On this side here, the O-ring looks like it's got a little bit of damage to it. Okay, so that O-ring is a bit of a shit show to get into there. You can see how big it is. I'm just gonna deal with it later. I don't feel like fucking around with it right now. So this here, we've just got to pull these cotter pins, and literally this piece here will just slide right out the bottom. I might take this all apart and clean it out because I'm not sure what kind of debris is in there. It's really weird that this doesn't have a seal in the top side. I can't do much about that. I think it might have just vibrated loose because you can see how much thread engagement we lost there. So I'm thinking that's supposed to thread right down. That's probably a pipe fitting of some kind. Maybe, I don't know why there's no O-ring in there, but I'm assuming if it threads right down to here with the proper thread sealant, it won't leak. I'm hoping. I don't know. I will take a look at the manuals if I can find them online. That's literally the only thing left to take apart, and then my two pins on this thing here. So there and there. But that's ready to get cleaned up and painted. That's ready to get cleaned up and painted. I'm not going to pop these rubber things out, I don't think. The bump stops, I'm going to leave those in there. This is ready to get cleaned up here, assuming we can reuse this. I got to still go through and clean this up. All these brackets can be reused. That needs to be cleaned up. And I need to start cutting all this weld out of here. And then going around and then making sure, I got to probably put a plate over the back side of this because This is what I'm looking for right here. As you can see, she is wallered right out. So I'm thinking of a 1 inch plate over, but that's pretty thick. That's like 1/2 inch right there, isn't it? Yeah, that's 1/2 inch right there. So, I mean, there's a lot of meat in there. I'm just not wondering if I shouldn't try to grind this flat. I don't know. I'll figure out what I'm going to do with this here. I might also just put a washer in there and then build that back up with a washer, maybe. That could work. I'm not sure what I'm doing here because that's a disaster. I wonder if I could rebuild this up with weld around here because I don't really want to cut that out of there. But look at that, huh? Oh, that's kind of a bad way to go. So that's kind of hard to see. But you can kind of see there. Wonder if I could build that up with a weld around there and then grind that flat maybe. What we want to do is do what this has. So we got a washer on this side, a washer on this side. This is a floating tube where the nut goes. So I'm thinking a washer on this side, a washer on this side would give us something that wouldn't be, you see how the washer is sort of friction interference? Like it's not meant to have the piece here rolling. It's supposed to grind against the washer that we could replace. So I'm thinking that's what we might put there. I could also maybe cut this out and put a bearing in there because that would go a lot further, I think. Sorry, I just got distracted. So yes, the other thing I could do is maybe see what I can find for a bearing at Princess Auto, chop this right out, and then put a bearing in here, because then that wouldn't have any friction on this whatsoever. The bearing just needs to have like a load for the hammering action of the hammer and the anvil there, or the post is the anvil. So we'll see. I might be able to do something because there's a lot of material up here. We could just nip this right off and then put something on top. That could be the way we want to go possibly too. I do like that idea because then you'd have something that's meant to take that rotational. This is the one you use a lot, this one. So I don't know if a bearing wouldn't knock itself out if I use it. I'll have to see what I can find. I don't know. I think the new ones use a bearing. So why don't we take a look? Even a Torrenson bearing on here would actually help a lot too. Maybe I could put that on here. If I clean this all up and built this up, put a Torrenson bearing on, Torrington bearing on there. I do think I think I might salvage this rod, but just replace this end here. Hard to say. And how much work do we want to put into this? How many fence posts has this done, and how much work have I had to put into this, right? So, but if we fix it all up heavy duty and way better, then if somebody wants to buy it, this thing is all upgraded to be used for another couple thousand posts. Oh, and I got to take those rollers out too. I just don't want to do them until I can keep track of where the shims all go. So I should probably start cleaning some of this stuff up here and get ready for the next stage of this. I think what we're going to do here is this was all disassembly cleaning of this. Next video we'll tear apart this control lever here as part of just spool valves, because that's a single action spool valve. No, not really. A dual action spool valve, single acting cylinder. There we go. So we'll deal with that spool valve in another video. We will deal with repairs of that in another video. We'll do the cleaning and repainting of this in another one, just so it doesn't drag out. This was just disassembly of the major components, because a lot of people don't even like to touch hydraulics. They're just afraid of them for some reason, but we got no choice. Farm or die. So till the next one. Till the next one.